they were getting ready to retire, and they bought a camper, an RV, and they were all excited about retirement, or all excited about being able to travel. And then they realized that the level of responsibility that they had in the town that they were in, and in the house that they were in, would not allow them to just hop in the RV and go.
Mm-hmm.
And they had not created a path to get to that place where the RV was. So in their mind, it was retirement and owning the RV are the key components.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so they had done both of those. They bought the RV like they said they would, and they retired like they said they would. And now the expectation is that I will now be a person who travels.
I wrote this book, Path of Freelancer, for freelancers, blueprint on how to, essentially, this is how I'm successful. This is the blueprint I use. And you were actually one of the first victims of my insights on this one. I talk about the expectation, like they sort of had this dream, and then the reality that they were living didn't match it. I had my marketing company, I shut it down, and I didn't know what I was going to do next. And I assumed I was going to have to get a job. And so I had some expectations that I thought having a job I was going to lose. But if I had a job, then I'm going to lose my freedom. I'm going to lose my financial upside. And so I kind of thought through those things. But then I started to think about it like, wait a second. I could still have those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just because you're an employee doesn't mean you couldn't have those things.
Yeah.
So how could I get that if I were an employee? And so I started thinking through that. And that led me to this mindset that I actually ended up using as a freelancer, which was, I'm the employee you wish you had, but you can't have. And I actually took the expectation and I actually turned it into an advantage. And it can go the other way. A lot of people go into business, and this was me when I started my company. I thought I was going to be free. I was going to have freedom. And I actually became enslaved in the business financially and with my time.
Mm-hmm.
And the same is true with freelancing, really anything. It could be a company that you work as an employee, or it could be a business you start. You can become enslaved. Just because it seems free doesn't mean you will be free. It's all about how you structure it, design it, and operate it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of similar to what you're describing. Is you can have a dream, whatever your dream is, like you might have actually put yourself in a situation where you can't have the dream because you'd be living the dream already. If they had this RV life they wanted to do, they could have been living it already, and maybe part-time. And then when they retired, like gone into it more. And then that would allow them to transition the responsibilities in a way that would allow them to do that or not take them on. So I don't know. What is that a good example? Are those a good examples, or have I derailed your idea?
No. This is all in alignment, I think, because we mentioned burnout, we mentioned losing momentum. So if the long game is set up properly, I think the ability to change something. So whenever I'm coaching people, I try my best to figure out not exactly what the path will look like for a certain amount of time. Like, here's the 5-year and it will look like this, just 10 years, but to try and find a cardinal direction. Like we understand that we are, at least, no matter what happens, as long as we're going that way, we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And then if you need to navigate, if you need to make small little adjustments as you go along, pull the raft out of the river and walk with the raft above your heads for 2 miles, and then get back in the water again. If that's failing, then you failed, right? But if that's a way to complete what you were trying to do, well, we didn't die in the river. Right. We didn't realize that this particular waterfall and these particular rapids and the speed and everything, we're probably not going to make it through if all of us went over that years ago, it was these conditions and we thought it was going to be this. We continue on, we move, we walk a couple of miles with the raft above our heads, we put it back in the water and we continue on. And as long as we're still moving in the right direction and we don't determine that we failed somehow, we can live to see the next day, and we can complete the journey that we were on. But it requires us to be okay with doing something that's not in the original vision, or that isn't the steps that we laid out when we perfectly charted, what success would look like.
Yeah. So I want to kind of talk. I'll give an example. One of my an application here that I think ties into what you said about, like, and what we talked about, goals, like setting a goal that once you accomplish it, it kind of pulls the motivational weight out. So Simon Sinek has the book the infinite game, and he talks about the idea of a finite game and an infinite game.
Mm-hmm.
And a finite game is having a goal that, like, to win the Super Bowl. Then you win the Super Bowl, and then now what, right?
Yeah.
You earn a certain amount of money. Now what? You get married. Now what? And an infinite game is the idea where you are committing a goal that is a sustaining, like you sustain this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to tether that into this idea of effective political movements. And so I was watching this video the other day where political movements that are based on an antagonism, like I'm against you or I'm against this idea, when they actually succeed, they end up failing and faltering and dying because they have nothing to go beyond that victory. It's a finite game where they win, perhaps like a political victory, but then they just start to decay, right? And so what you have to have is a positive vision for the future and not just an anti-vision that is against someone or something.
Yeah.
Because that will sustain you after you achieve the goal of victory in the case of power. And that can be true in a business or relationship, but having a proactive vision for this future state that you want to bring people to, that people want to participate in and be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, I think, just a really important piece of playing the long game.